we move on to the next session, the last session of the conference. It is Vaishnavism in modern period. We have 6 papers in this session. The first paper of the session is by Sri Sushant Bharti ji, the social context of 18th century Vrindavan through the eyes of Nagaridas. Actually, usually all our papers from Sushant Bharti ji is from his field of archaeology, but this time he has taken up the social context of 18th century Vrindavan through the eyes of Nagaridas.
सप्त प्राकार मध्ये सरसिज मुकुलोद्भासमाने विमाने कावेरी मध्य देशे मेयोतर परिरात भोग पर्यंक भागे निद्रा मुद्राभिराभम कटिनिकर शिर पार्श्व विन्यस्त हस्तम पद्माधात्री कराभ्याम परिचित चरणम श्रीरंगराजम भजेहम. So as Nagaridas sir told ki we have to speak in our mother language. So technically my mother language is Bhojpuri from my mother's and father's side. But because I have been working around the cultural landscape of Braj since more than 10 years, so I have chosen to speak in Braj Bhasha. So there is a very famous doha which says that Barnan ko kar sakat kala, Barnan ko kar sakat bhala ti bhasha koti, machal machal hari mange jame makhan roti. So what else can be said about the praise of the Braj Bhasha, the language in which Lord Krishna himself asked Makhan and Roti from Yashoda in Braj. So आज पुण्य सलीला कावरी तट पर उपस्थित श्रीरंगम तीर्थ में श्री रंगनाथ जी एवं श्री गोदम्बा जी के चरणन मणि में हम सब उपस्थित होकर आप सबन के सम्मुख श्री वैष्णव मत एवं संप्रदाय के विषय में जो सवरी चर्चा 2 दिनों से कर रहे हैं, वहां मैं अपनी पुष्पांजलि अर्पित करके मैं अपने आप को सौभाग्यशाली समझ रहा हूं. और वाही क्रम में मैं ब्रज के एक अज्ञात पक्ष पे आप सबन के सम्मुख यह समय एक प्रस्तुति करने जा रहा हूं. सो कमिंग बैक टू दी बेस्ट लैंग्वेज इंग्लिश अगेन. सो माई प्रेजेंटेशन इज एक्चुअली इन कंटिन्यूटी व्हाट एक्चुअली Vajanti ji actually yesterday discussed about the Nagara Varnan in the Kavya Parampara, which is not discussed by the so-called historians and scholars. So this is again about one work composed by a king who turned into a saint, who chose the name Nagaridas, and he survived in the 18th century context of Vrindavan. So just a small timeline to understand the political social turmoil that how Savan Singh becomes Nagaridas when he comes to Braj. So he was born, his family was linked to, Vrindavan. There is a debate about the Sampradayic affiliation of the royal family of Kishangarh. Some people believe that they might have been Vallabhites. Some people believe that they might have been Nimbarki because the headquarters of Nimbark Sampradaya, Sinemabad, is very nearby. And Savan Singh, he got coronated but again thrown out by his younger son. So out of Vairagya, he left to Braj, saying that, there is nothing left in this world. And then what happened was that, that after 1707, when Aurangzeb died, so with all this Jat and Maratha political, turmoil happening in northern part of the country, so Savan Singh tried to take help of some Rajput kings to again gain his throne back. But somehow none of them helped. But again with the help of Marathas, Jayapaya Shinde ji, and Dattaji Shinde afterwards, he actually takes back the throne, and fortunately the kingdom of Kishangarh gets divided into 2 parts, and he actually gets the part of the kingdom where the spiritual seat of Nimbark Sampradaya is there. So I don't know, I don't want to get into the political question that what Sampradaya he belonged to, but if we see his work, it's more towards the Nimbarka philosophy. So for me, as far as work, I consider him to be a Nimbarka Sampradaya Vaishnav, not to be a Vallabhite. So another important story which happens is that Ahmad Shah Abdali took 6 to 7 expeditions towards India. The 5th one was in Braj, during which he literally looted and killed everyone in Mathura, Gokul, Vrindavan specifically. And Over in this particular battle, he was stopped by Maharaja Surajmal. He was sent back to the Afghanistan. And in the fifth invasion, we know very well the third battle of Panipat. But in that battle, after that battle, he didn't come down. He went from there itself. So from 1757, how the town is again regaining its own, beauty, its own political, social, economical stature. There, the work by Maharaja Sawan Singh, Nagaridas, the Vanajana Prashansa is very important. So the word which means is Vanajana Prashansa, which means for the praise of the residents of the Vana, which is Vrindavan. And again, he died in, Vrindavan itself. So the photograph, what you can see is the Samadhi of Nagaridas. Again, just to tell, the very famous style, the Vanajani style of Kishangarh style actually was started by him himself, Nagaridas ji. So this is the, only available photograph of Nagaridas ji with his royal attire and also in the spiritual mood. So the important part is that when we see the map of Vrindavan, only the red part which is near the Yamuna is well documented, because these are the 5 temples which were, which gained the grants from Mughal period, and we have the mention in the Mughal Farman and all the royal accounts. But we don't know about the other parts of the Vrindavan, what was happening. What was the mohalla, what sort of people were living, the caste, hierarchy, the occupational, all those things. Somehow, since from 16th century till 18th century, we have no text available. There could have been a case that someone would have written that, but somehow we don't find any evidences. There are few instances that people have, described mostly about the flora and fauna of Braj. But no one had discussed about the spiritual practices or the type of people living in Vrindavan. So Nagaridas is the sole person who comes out and describes, how many people, what all people are living in the spiritual town of Vrindavan. So, I will skip this. Again, Maharaj Surajmal is a very important person because he resisted that Durrani force. Again, he is, painted in a different manner, not lending his hands to Marathas. But the another important aspect is when Marathas actually got defeated in Panipat, he was the only person to provide refuge to all the people from Panipat in his fort in Bharatpur. And also he was the person who actually literally stopped all this foreign invasion after 1757. So the text, the Vanajana Prashansa, actually has 4 parts. It's a work of 60 Brajbhasha couplets, and it has 4 different, segregations. So the first set of couplets talks about the priest group, the Goswamis and all. The second is about the readers, writers and the musician group in the Vrindavan who was surviving at that point of time. The third is the service provider group, the occupational part. What was happening in Vrindavan? How that town was connected with the business, route, because Mathura was a business center, we all know. But we never came to know about what was happening in Vrindavan. And the third and the fourth and the last part is the fauna, which has been discussed immensely by all the Brajbhasha poets about the Lata, Pata, Kunj, Bhavan and all those things. But, so the first one is the priest group. So, all the couplet starts with a typical starting. Dhani Dhani Vrindavan ke Gosai. Dhani Dhani Vrindavan ke Sant. So, he says everyone is blessed who is living in Vrindavan. So, this is the way he starts. Another important aspect is all the 60 couplets are so beautifully immersed in that, spiritual mood of Vrindavan that he, at the end of the line, where the chhap comes, the Nagariya or Nagardas, he provides that a particular being which he has described in the couplet, he has that particular spiritual level. Even he described the same thing for a dog also in Vrindavan, which I will discuss in the later slide. So you have all these people. So I have just chosen one Brajbhasha couplet for each one of them. Here is one. Dhana Dhana Vrindavan ke Gosai jete. Like all the Gosais who live in Vrindavan. Jin daksha shiksha karke nar hari sanmukh kete. Who give initiation to the disciples and bring the disciple in front of the Hari. Param Puneet Puj Kul Sabke Kripa Bhakti Phalarite. Who are from the, Punya Kul, from Brahmin family. And who actually give the Kripa of Bhakti to all the people who come, who try to be a resident of Vrindavan, Brajavasi. Nagar Bhairu Ab Hone Sab Jagavandit Tete. So Nagaridas says that I am not afraid now because I have a refuge of a Goswami and he will literally make sure that I attain the Brajavas in this life itself. The next Another important group is about the reader, writer and musician groups. So again it is like Dhanadhana Vrindavan ke Vakta, Dhanadhani Vrindavan ke Kavi. So Gavaiya, Likhiya and Bhat, the Bhat community, about which we have a lot of this Bhat community which survived in, like even Bhushan was also a Bhat, who wrote extensively about Chhatrasal and Shivaji Maharaj. So in the same way he is describing about all these groups surviving in Vrindavan. So again one more couplet for the poets. Dhanadhana Vrindavan ke Kavijan, and Vrindavan ki Leela Varnat Vahi Minat Rahe Lagyuman, Rachat Ruchir Prati Pachar Rachna Jatha Rupa Darasave, Deva Vanite Brajvani Kar Shavana Sudhaso Kave. This is a very important line. What Tulsidas did, he converted the Sanskrit text into the local language. So the line says, Devavani, from Sanskrit, Te Brajvani, Kari Shavana Sudhaso Gave. And the one which I have actually made bold is, Inhite Navaras Bijan ke Karad Rasik Jan Bhog. So Navaras is not something which everyone can enjoy. But due to these poets, they have made it so easy that the local residents of Vrindavan are also enjoying these Navaras with the help of their poetry. And the last line, E Tulsi Ban Basi Kunjan mein Kunj Keli Bistare. So as per the Vrindavan Bhav, it is a very high stature that you go and enjoy the spiritual Leela of Radha and Krishna inside the Kunj. No one is allowed to reach that particular level. It's a very high stage of spiritual level. So here Nagaridas is saying that these poets become the Tulsi in that Kunj, and they see all this Leela and then they write. This is how Nagaridas is explaining about the poets of the Vrindavan also. The other important group is the most favorite one of mine, about the occupational groups. Who all were doing what? Because we know that Vrindavan is a temple, town. It has all the economical activities around the temples. We need various services for the temples, and specifically in Vrindavan, the sampradayas which are there, the seva of the Vigraha is very extensive, like in terms of Shringar and all those things. So how to, get all these services? So he talks about the cloth trader, Bajaj, Modi, Sunar, Dhanadhani Vrindavan ke Pansari, even the grocery, the physicians, the Charaniya Halwai, it's a Brajavasha word for Halwai. Then the perfume, Itar, which is one of the very interesting, thing used for all the, Thakur Seva in Braj. The Darji, the Rangiya, because we have a specific occasion where we have to color the clothes, like for Janmashtami it will be in Kesariya, for another festival it will be in different color altogether. And another important part is that this is the most extensive part written by Nagaridas about the occupational group. He talks very less about the Goswami and the reader-writer group, but this is the group where he has described about all the occupational groups surviving in Vrindavan. So we have barber, coppersmith, everyone over there. So this is one of the very famous, pad which I like about the Halwai community and what all they make. So you have all the, delicacies. So there is a very important word in the second line called Bhog Amaniya. So it is a Brajabhasha word. Amaniya means the thing which is not offered yet. And once it is offered, it becomes Prasadi. So we use word called Amaniya in Braj and Prasadi for offered food. So you can see Gunja, Bundi, Modik, Mathri, Khaja, Kurma. We have Jalebi, Puwa, Sakkar Pare, Misri Mawa, Mohan Bhog means Suji ka Halwa. We have Khand, we have Bal Vinod, Gulabi Gevar. And the last one is Revanti Ko Devar, which means Krishna. Because Revanti is wife of Balram. So we have Chiranji, we have Peta, all those things are there. And the last line, Ityadik Sundar Samagri Sammandarin Pathave. Like all the temples in Vrindavan, when they make all these delicacies and offer to the Thakurji and the Perumal, then they send the prasad to Nagaridas and he enjoys all this, prasad sitting in his kunj over there. So, and it is still the most famous and most thriving community in Vrindavan because sweets are famous. It's fully, immersed in ghee and sugar if you come and enjoy all those things over there. The Darji, I will just, see the last line. Nagar and Nipun far ke jorat. So he said, Nagaridas said, they are the community who first tear the cloth and then again they stitch the cloth. So, Nipun far ke jorat, pat rachna ke garji. So this is, how he has used the poetic ability of his to describe about such common people living in Vrindavan at that point of time. And the last and favorite of mine actually, people have written extensively about the floral part of Vrindavan, like Pushpa, Pallava, Kunj, Lata, all those Lata Mandir, Kunj Bhavan. But and mostly there are two animals which we know discussed about in Braj. One is cow, another one is peacock. But he talks about billy, donkey, dog, and all those creatures, because dog is something you know very well. In spiritual context, touching dog, you have to again purify yourself. But the way he had described the dog is one of my favorite couplets of this work. He says, Dhanana Vrindavan ke swan, blessed are the dogs in Vrindavan. Sant Seet ki kare jivika jamuna jal ko pan, who eats the residues left by the saints and drink Yamuna water. Kunj dwar chauki mein chaukas iniyaj karat snan, who actually guard the Kunj Mahal of Radha and Krishna. So imagine being taking this human form, you cannot enter that particular place, but being the dog, Nagaridas is saying that they go and guard that particular dwar. Ihiraj karas snan, as Surbi told that Raj is very important. We don't even call it mitti or soil. We have to use word called Braj Raj. And Nagaridas is saying that they are so blessed that they deliberately take snan in that Raj. And Nagariya je vimukh manusha te inke na saman. So he is saying it's not dogs like we saying he's in Hindi is he kutta hai. So Nagaridas is saying that you are not supposed to use this word for these creatures. You have to use the word dog for those people who are not directed towards the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. So this is the way Nagaridas is explaining even the Dhanya Bhag of dogs residing in the holy land of Vrindavan. So this is how he has described all those things. But the important part which actually made me delve into this particular text was because as an architect I feel quite insufficient that I don't find all this literary evidence to map that city, how it evolved. Apart from the Mughal references, I don't have much to talk about. This was my perception. But when I looked upon Vanajana Prashansa, and also there is one more text which was written after that, it gives me about this, this opportunity that now we can map the mohallas and how the town evolved. So by this, we should, because when we look at a certain town, we mostly, limit Vrindavan to temples. But Vrindavan is more than that. And being very near to Mathura, it has more to, contribute. So, my particular, taking from this particular paper and what actually Vijanti said yesterday was that we have to bring all this vernacular text to, provide a proper historical narrative for towns like Vrindavan, Pushkar or any other, towns, specifically in the northern part of the country where we have faced so much of, Islamic invasion, and to again, put all these states to write the proper historical narrative of all this, towns. So I am not against the Mughal narratives, but again, it has to come with this. So Ganga Jamuni ka matlab ye nahi ki always Ganga or Yamuna. It has to be both Ganga and Yamuna. This is my, personal opinion on the historical writing. And this is all, I had to say today. So, thank you. Thank you very much.
As always, Sushant ji was amazing. As you have all seen, you enjoyed the paper. In my own university career field, cultural anthropology, we have a subfield called ethnography. And the most recent literature on ethnography, they use the word, there is a book called Ethnography as Poetry. But now this paper shows poetry as ethnography. Actually, poetry has come in the form of ethnography. And there are a good number of books. In Telugu, there is a 15th century Telugu work, which is a translation of a Sanskrit work of 14th century, called Kridabiramamu, which is an ethnography of Warangal city in the form of a kind of natakam. It is a vidhi kind of natakam written. So probably there is a big number of such literature all over the country. People have to do. And during the exactly same period, 18th century, the Europeans also started getting their ethnographies written. And by 19th century, they started doing it as part of what they called census ethnography. And British ethnographers were appointed. So, as Sushantji rightly said, the two versions, the outside ruler like Mughal ruler or the British ruler's version and an inside version have to be put together to come with a right picture of these places. As all were laughing about Prasad, let me tell you that there is a story in Telugu, one Hindu-phobic writer called Gurjada Apparao. We have many rationalist writers, reformational rationalist writers. In the name of their rationalism, they do all Hindu phobia. And he has written a short story, a Hindu-phobic short story. In that, he makes it a joke to say that many Shaivites were getting converted into Vaishnavism for prasad. Because Vaishnavism is known for his many sweet prasadams. In Srirangam also this prasad. So probably this halwai of Vrindavan is also part. But Varanasi is also known for halwai, right? So Shaivism also has its own. Okay. So Jatayuji now.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Sushant.
Yeah, please.
Sushant, first of all, many congratulations because coming from literature, this kind of analysis is something which I really look forward to, because what you have done is you have actually sort of explored a connection between textuality and history. You historicized the text and also have textualized history. So this is something a very important intervention. But I was just trying to explore if there is, have you looked at other variants of this text, right? Because what happens when there are certain signifiers like this within the text, which are direct reference to a place, there's also a scope for substituting one word with the other. This is a very textual thing, so pardon me if I'm sounding very textual here, but there is always a possibility of, substitution within these texts, right? So maybe if you look at different variants, you may also find, words being replaced, so as to evoke different meanings, right? Because within in what is happening, even in many texts within Assamese literary culture, what we have found, Gopi being substituted with Radha and vice versa. It has happened, right? So maybe this is something you can look into it, maybe if you are interested, going deeper into the text. So this is something just wanted to highlight.
Yes, this is something which actually, I'm doing this for the first, probably for the first time.
Yes, and certainly not the last.
No.
Yes.
And yes, you are correct that there could be some versions or more versions for this particular text. But fortunately or unfortunately, Nagaridas has been one of those figures who is mostly discussed about his paintings, not was about his literature.
Yes.
So the work which I actually referred was printed way back in 70s. Okay. After that, even if till date, today if you go want to buy this Nagaridas ji ka kavya, it is all photocopy which you will get in Vrindavan.
Okay.
So that is the stage of the Brajavasha, text, and even that photo you saw, the Samadhi,
right? A
person from a royal family and a serious stature of the Samadhi over, in Vrindavan. So that is the case, and but the point is that yes, I will surely look into there are some more versions maybe in Braj somewhere in Gokul or Mathura or somewhere that can be a good addition. But that is one thing is sure that this was written in Vrindavan because he spent the last stages of his life in Vrindavan. So by word one. If we talk about one in Braj, it is Vrindavan itself. So it cannot be other one. So that is something which I was assured of. But yes, more to look into.
Absolutely.
Thank you for the suggestion.
Yeah. Thanks, Sushant. Thanks.
1 second.
Yeah, one more question.
Yeah,
Sushant. Brief.
Yeah, brief. Sushantji, thanks for the interesting and humorous presentation. I just wanted to know, you mentioned Ahmad Shah Abdali, and most of the references were like commonplace life. And were there any sort of historical references to Vrindavan being rebuilt? Because in the book Braj Ka Itihas by Vajpayee ji, he says there was nobody left standing. So the Marathas also came in, and the contribution of the other Vaishnava Sampradayas. So has he referred to that?
As I said, in 1757, Ahmad Shah Abdali attacked.
Yes.
It is correct that no one was left in Vrindavan, everyone was killed. So a lot of poets and Goswamis were given refuge by Surajmal in his fort of Bharatpur. And from there, Chacha Vrindavan Das ji, who was one of the poets in Vrindavan, he wrote about the atrocities committed by Ahmad Shah Abdali. So the atrocities have been documented. But even in this Kavya, he doesn't talk about the word called Punarjeevit or Punarnirmar, something like that. Because Vrindavan is like Sada Vasanta Rahata Vrindavan. Vrindavan is Nitya. If material will say, if you can just diminish that, in eternal it is always there. So none of the Brajabhasha poets have said ki Vrindavan diminished or got lost. No one has wrote something like that, because they believe the Vrindavan was always there. It just a particular time has to come when that particular person will come and reveal that particular place. And Vrindavan, which was rediscovered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in 1515, was actually the Panchakosi Rasasthali. As per Bhagavat, from Govardhan to Yamuna, everything is Vrindavan, not the very place what we see today on the Google map.